The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot and Updog podcast be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andrea Morissette.
And I am Jack Bailey. We are your hosts today. We have an important topic today, some changes to Updog Freestyle, to Dre's favorite game, to my favorite game. We've talked about changes to Freestyle quite a bit over the last few months. A lot of this will be a repeat for folks that have been picking up on things here and there, but we're trying to bring all the information together, give it to you all in one shot, because anybody that is doing a event that starts in February 1st or beyond, you need to be using these new rules. So the new rules will come out at the end of this month, at end of January. You should be following these new rules, using these new score sheets immediately.
Yeah, and thank you, Jack, there's magic. Thank you, Jack, for doing all that groundwork and updating all of our rules. So it's not just freestyle, we are updating all of our rules documents. That is an exorbitant amount of work. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for all of the people, the Updoggers that have been helping you to proof and organize that work. So, we benefit from having that completed product at the end. And sometimes we don't see all the groundwork that goes into that. That was a really big project. So thanks for updating that for us.
Well, thank you for thanking me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. So today we're talking about
by
freestyle.
The way,
Woo-hoo.
just as a off thing, I know it sounds weird to say thank you for thanking me, but like somebody on my team when I used to be the supervisor of math, somebody on my team used to say that all the time, and then it spread to all of us on the team, and then it kind of became a thing, and it makes people like it. Not that that's the reason that you do it, but the more that you thank people for thanking you, the more you get thanked. Like it snowballs. So try it. I do that with Kat now, and she looks at me strange, but I think she's thanking me more. Secretively, I think it's working.
You're classically conditioning Kat
isn't realizing it.
Yeah.
Right. So we are talking today about our freestyle rules, and I'm going to share the screen, but I found out from viewers last time when I shared the screen, even though it looks like on my screen, you can see both Dre and I and what I'm sharing.
Yep.
When it's recorded, it's only recording the shared screen. And so all people could see throughout the rest of the podcast was the document. So I will make sure I don't do that this time. As soon as we're done looking at the document, I will get rid of it. Back to Dre and I's lovely faces so you can see our emotions as we talk to you about this amazing game. All right, so let me switch over here real quick. All right, do you see page 1 in the top of it with the fields?
Yep. Times 8, 135 seconds.
All right, so one of the first things you guys will notice if you go to rules documents is that in the past we had one rule document for freestyle, including level 1 and level 2. We now have 2 rule documents, just like any other game that has a level 1 and a level 2. You've got a level 1 rules document and you've got a level 2 rules document. Even though there's a lot of similarities and not many differences, there's still 2 documents just to stay consistent. Remember, part of our reasoning for making all these changes to our rules documents is to try to create consistency. So we have a level 1 freestyle rules document and a level 2 freestyle rules document. The very first thing that you see is setting the scene, 8 discs, 135 seconds. You can play on a small field or a big field, And if you don't know it already, these black squares on the rules documents always indicate where the judges should be approximately. Okay. Um, when you get down further down into the document, you will see some sections. We have a section called the skinny, which is basically giving you a quick, very short, succinct description of the game. And then you get into the specs, which is really the rules, the meat of the rules. And this document is broken up into criterion round. I'll scroll down a little bit. It talks about some freestyle options and things that you can do in terms of divisions. But then as you scroll down, you can see here we've got the criterion round rules. And then if you scroll down even more, we get to the performance round. Okay. We are going to jump right down and spend most of our time talking about the performance round because that's where most of our changes occur. However, Dre, if it's cool with you, I would like to share something that we talked about. Dre's been going through she's been coming to the freestyle head judges training this time around just because she's headed out to do the Australian uh finals, and it's always good to like keep up with anything that's out there that's changing or find out what our discussions are that we talk about. And as we've always shared, freestyle is an evolving game. And so one of the things that we talked about on week one, Dre, I don't know if you remember this, but I think it's worth mentioning here since we're talking about having a level one and a level two. The only differences in the criterion round between level one and level two is you have fewer criteria. So it's the same criteria. There's 6 subcategories for dog, human, and team in level two. There's only 3 subcategories for dog, human, and team in level one. Both level one and level two, you can earn a total of 100 points in the criterion round. So what that means is in level one, let's say that I'm the human judge and I'm scoring tricks. Okay. And whatever score I would give in level two would be out of 5 points. In level one, it would be out of 10 points. Okay. But one thing to keep in mind is that if I'm scoring level one, I should be evaluating that level one player in the same way as I'd be evaluating them if I was watching level two. I
Yep.
shouldn't be thinking to myself, well, wow, they're a really good player for a
Player.
level one player.
Yeah.
Let me give them an 8 in tricks. Well, an 8 in tricks would correspond to a 4 if they were playing level two, which would mean they were doing high level tricks throughout the entire round, which means they shouldn't be playing level one.
Right.
So when you give out your level one scores, just keep in mind that you are using the same cheat sheet rubric as the level two teams. It's just that your scores are elevated. They're doubled because your points are out of 10 points and not out of 5 points. But always be thinking to yourself, if this was a level two score, what would my 8 correspond to? It would have corresponded to a 4.
Right.
And is this player really at a 4 level? Most of your level one teams should be getting a score of 6 or lower. If they're consistently getting higher than a 6 or even six is a 3,
Pretty high, yeah.
they need to be encouraged to be playing level two. Your level one teams are probably scoring on the level one scale somewhere between a 0 and a 5. And if
Yep.
they're getting higher scores than that, either you're scoring incorrectly or they need to be playing level two.
Yeah, well said.
So I think sometimes people think, well, it's level one, so I could just, for a level one player, they're doing really good, but that's not what the cheat sheets say. Go back and read through the cheat sheets, and it talks about, those skills being represented or demonstrated throughout the majority of the round or not the majority of the round. All of that language stays consistent with level one and level two. So
Mhm.
anyway, just take a look at it. If you have questions, you can always reach out to myself or Dre. about any freestyle judging related questions. So anyway, I wanted to just kind of say that since we're talking about the fact that we have a level 1 and a level 2 rules document.
Well,
But we
why did
are
we,
really here to go ahead,
yeah.
Dre, what?
So why did we even change them? Like, why did we change the freestyle rules?
So the reason why we made changes to the rules, and when I say changes to the rules, I'm not talking about the format of the rules. The reason why we changed the performance rules blatantly and honestly is because we felt like our scoring was off. It was
Uh-huh.
off locally. It was off um, at big contests, including even up diff. We felt that the tools that we gave to our judges did not allow them to score as consistently and closely calibrated as we would like them to be. And so we knew we had to go back and look at our tools and do a better job for our judges of giving them tools that would help them stay consistent and calibrated.
Yeah.
So that's what the change for the performance round was. And Dre, we used these changes already, right? A couple
Yeah.
times.
In the Invitational, and didn't we use them at another event? We used them for the Invitational.
And the freestyle crown.
Yeah, the Freestyle Crown, that's what it was. Yeah, so we used them for Freestyle Crown first, and we had because it's an online event, we could take our time and make sure we review everything and fill in the boxes. We weren't on a time crunch. And we were actually really happy with how Freestyle Crown went. And then when we did it at the Invitational, we came up with a couple of new things even that help dial in the judges and guarantee that we're happy about what we scored from beginning to end. Because if you've never scored freestyle before, like you might be starting at 8:30 in the morning and you haven't had your coffee yet and your brain's a little foggy. And then you're dialed in at 9 or 10 o'clock and you guys are chopping through some rounds and things are moving smoothly and you've had breaks and you've had your coffee and you're feeling good. But by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you're feeling a little sleepy and it's harder to focus and right. And so our scores, our scale can be a little bit off sometimes when we're judging for whole days. And so we wanted to put some things in place that kind of help the judges make adjustments or corrections for the human element of judging. Like we're just never going to be perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. We don't want the judges to feel like there's no room to make mistakes because you're human beings. And I mean, Updog was literally born from what we assessed as unclear judging. We're not clear judging. Like we didn't understand why the results were there. So we realize there's a human element, especially from the education standpoint. And so we want to support our judges as best we can to be able to give you the information. We can't give you 25 years of disc dog knowledge. Like we can't transfer that to you guys. But what we can do is put things in subcategories and pictures and explanations and training, and then give you some fail safes at the beginning and the end of your judging that help you stay calibrated the way that you want to. So we put that stuff in place for the performance round. We also used it for the criterion round, and I think all of the judges felt like there was a significant difference in how we felt about the results at the end of the day, and also what the judging experience was like. And all of those things came from suggestions from our community. So again, thank you for coming to us with ideas and suggestions, probably based on what we've said on the podcast and what we've asked for. So you guys came up with great ideas, and we implemented and tested them, and they're working great.
Yeah, and freestyle is an evolving game. Like it's something as a judge, you always have to be you always need to be open to thinking outside of the box and having a different perspective, perhaps allow you to gain some knowledge on a
Mhm.
subcategory or a new skill or a new trick that you're seeing. The continuing conversations around freestyle and how new moves and new throws and things like that fit into the scoring system is
Yep.
essential. So anyways, it was nice to be able to try these things out and make adjustments, and we feel like we've got some tools here that will really help our judges to again, be more consistent, be more calibrated in the performance round, especially.
Yeah. So that's
So
the structure you went over for the two sets of rules, level one and level two. The biggest changes we made were in the performance round. So
yeah.
what changes did we make there, Jack?
All right, so I'm going to pull up our document again just so that you can see this this chart here. Come on.
We can see it.
All right, I'm going to make it a little bit larger here.
Here you go. That's much better.
All right, so this is found at the top of your performance score sheet, score recording sheet now. And this is our scoring rubric for the performance round. So now for the performance round, in the past, judges gave an overall score between 0 and 10. And we asked judges to do a very difficult thing. We were like, hey, when you're giving your score between 0 and 10, try to set aside some points for the performance aspect of the round. Try to think about dog, human, and team as well. You can maybe give, and we gave guidance about 8 points versus 2 points. And it was very challenging. Even for myself, I know to always kind of keep that separation of 8 and 2 and making sure I didn't like give too many points for the performance aspect, making sure I didn't forget about dog or didn't forget about team and all of that. So now what we have is we have a score sheet, and I'll scroll down and show you that in a second. But we have a score sheet for each of the judges, and when they judge, you're judging 4 categories. You're judging dog, human, team, and performance. And you have 5 points to give in each one of those categories. So that way there, each judge is still giving an overall score. The overall score is the most you can give is 20 points for your overall score. But that overall score is broken down nicely into 4 chunks so that I don't forget about dog as I'm thinking about the holistic round. I don't get overwhelmed by a cool theme and give all my points for the cool theme. It's broken down into 4 boxes: dog, human, team, performance. And then I have some guidance here that tells me, like, if I were to give a team, say, a 4 in performance, what would that mean? And so you can see here what that would mean. It's the language in the, I'll read it. I keep forgetting this is a podcast, and many of you might be in your car, so you're not actually reading. But, like, say, like a 3, let's go with the 3. The majority of these skills, 4 out of 6 of them, that's majority, were observed throughout the majority of the routine. Multiple different examples of these skills were observed. So if I'm thinking of dog, human, team, and performance, I have to think for each one of them separately. Dog, did the majority of the skills happen during the majority of the routine? If so, I'm above a 3. If not, I'm below a 3. And I quickly can make that adjustment. I can write down my number, and then I can adjust it somewhere between 3 and 4. If it happened all of the time, I'm in the 4 zone. Now, these numbers should be familiar to you because they are the exact numbers and the exact language that you see in the criterion round. It's just that in the performance round, we've added in a fourth criteria, or sorry, a fourth category, which is the performance. And also, every judge is scoring everything. And it's a broader, more generic score rather than digging into the small little nuances that we dig into in the criterion round. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to show you what the score sheet looks like here. All right, here you go. So this is a score sheet that's been filled out. And you can see that this team, we've got dog, human, team, and performance, 4 sections. And I'm scoring somewhere between a 0 and a 5. So you can see they got a 3 for dog, a 2.75 for human, a 3.25 for team, and a 3.75 for performance. So none of those categories get missed. I have to individually think about each one. But again, I'm giving a generic score, not digging into the small little skill categories that we see in the criterion round. You'll notice that there is a row here for catch ratio or percentage.
Yep.
In the performance round, you will still have a catch ratio judge, but the catch ratio percentage will not count for any points It's just extra data, extra information that the judges can use. So, like, let's say that the catch ratio on this team was a 42%. But in my head, I didn't really think that they missed that many. But then the catch ratio judge tells the other three judges, hey guys, the catch ratio was 42%. That could impact my dog score or perhaps my human score. I might go, oh man, they actually threw more throws into the dirt that were uncatchable than I thought. Maybe they don't deserve a 3. Maybe they really deserve a 2.75 or something like that. So the catch ratio is just there to give you extra information to help you make those scores. Now, I mentioned this performance round, you've only got 3 judges. Dre, you remember in the past we had 5 judges, right?
No more guest judge.
Exactly. No more guest judge. We ended up realizing that most of the time the guest judge's score got dropped anyway. So we just are so there's 4 judges for the criterion round: dog, human, team, and catch ratio. We keep the same exact 4 judges for the performance round, and the judge who did the catch percentage will do the catch percentage again, except this time their score just doesn't count as a score. It counts as extra information that the 3 judges who are now judging 4 categories each, they're now judging
Yep.
dog, human,
Everything.
team, and performance. All 3 of their scores are going to count.
Mhm.
So quick math would tell you if I'm able to give up to 20 points as one judge, and there's 3 judges, that means that they can get up to 60 points
Yep.
in the performance round. Now, the criterion round is worth 100 points. And we don't want the criterion round being worth, 40% more
Right.
than and I don't know if I don't think I did that percentage right. But anyway, we don't want it being worth more than the performance round. So what we do is we simply plug it into a formula, very similar to the formula that you use when you're doing catch ratio. If there's a possibility of 60 points, and let's just say I earn 45 of them, that would mean that I earned 75%, right? Is that right? Where's my phone?
Yeah, that seems right.
So, yeah, so I would earn 75% of the points, possible points, which would mean I would earn 70. So my percentage is then we multiply that decimal percentage by 100, and that would mean I earned 75 of the possible 100 points. If you have any questions about that math or whatever, the formulas in the rules and it kind of explains it a little bit more in there. But essentially, it's the same thing as when you do the catch ratio. Like
Just divide
if I
one into
had
the other and then times it
right,
times.
if I had 20 throws and my dog caught 19 of them, I'm going to end up with a 9.5 because it's a 95% catch ratio. So in this situation, it's not out of 10 like the catch ratio is, it's out of 100. So my 75% trans correlates to 75 points. Okay. Um, let's see. What else do we want to discuss here about the performance round, Dre?
Um, I mean, uh, well, we could talk a little bit about how we're calibrating the judges at the beginning and the end. I think you covered all the changes in the performance round. The change to the rubric, having it on top is a big deal. Having the boxes for each category is a big deal. It made it a lot easier for us to stay focused on that specific category, and really assign the points more correctly in performance. I think that's just a matter of it going out into the world and everybody starting to use it. It's easier to judge. We won't need as many judges, so it'll be easier to get people. And you could still utilize some of the newer members of your club to do catch ratio and kind of get their feet wet judging. So you really need 3 more experienced judges and one relatively new person, which before it was, you needed 5. And that was a big um, challenge for a lot of clubs, I think, especially our newer clubs that don't have a lot of certified judges around to get that many bodies to judge freestyle when you only have a certain amount of bodies playing freestyle. So one of our goals was also to reduce the amount, to make it easier to run freestyle at events. Freestyle, I think,
And
and
we've been running freestyle judges classes pretty regularly now, 5, 6 times a year. It's a 5 week course now, and 2 hours each evening. Usually, it's in the evenings. But encourage your players and your prospective judges to take the course. It'll help them understand the different skills. It will help them to understand the difference between criterion and performance and the new performance rules, all of that stuff. And once they become a certified head judge, they can also attend the quarterly meetings that Dre and I are starting this year. Um, the judging course, the freestyle judging course is only like that's like jump starting your learning. But it is
Yep.
definitely not like, okay, I finished the course. I've learned everything I need to learn.
Now I'm a great freestyle judge.
Not at all. I mean, we're constantly learning, we're constantly having conversations about things, people are sending us scenarios that we hadn't thought of before, and we have to think about it and give them an answer to their question about that particular scenario or whatever. And so we want to have quarterly meetings with our freestyle judges who have taken the course. And each one of those quarterly meetings will have a focus. We'll let you know what that focus is. We'll take questions ahead of time so Dre and I can have some responses already thought through so that we're not just, coming up at the last second with our responses. But also that evening, it'll be a Zoom meeting and you can chime in and ask questions right then and there too if you need anything clarified. It's a great way for us to continue the learning for our judges and also for us to know what other questions are out there that perhaps we need to address or anything that needs to be tweaked in the rules and things like that. Um, so Dre, something that is not in the rules because it's not something that you have to do, but something that we did a couple times last year that we found very helpful, and especially as these new rules are kind of coming um, into the new year.
Mhm.
Uh, can you talk a little bit about the dog in white that we did and what that idea is? And this is definitely something you could do at your local events that I think would really be helpful for your judges.
Yeah, we had I mentioned earlier in this podcast that there's some things that we had put in place that Jack and I discussed for some of the larger events that we had recently, like Freestyle Crown and the Invitational, because we were building our performance new score sheet at that time. So we were talking about how we can calibrate judges to be ready. Everybody knows like the dreaded going first thing. Nobody wants to go first because the judges aren't calibrated right. You don't know if they're going to be, their scale isn't set. They might not have their coffee yet or be awake, right? And so there's always this like the person who has to go first is at this huge disadvantage. So one of the conversations that we had and we tested that worked really well is we ran dog in white, which is a concept that comes from bite sport community. Um, Basically, a team that's not competing that day will go out and play freestyle with music, everything, and the judges will judge them first. And it's a way to just be able to calibrate going through the rubric, going through your subcategories. I know for sure when I start a freestyle day when we're judging. Those first couple ones, I'm pretty nervous to like get my scale set and to like kind of get my brain into it. And I really felt like Dog and White helped us and we did it 15 minutes before start. So the other really cool thing about that is that the first team on the line had a really accurate 15-minute start time where they can properly prepare their dog. And that's another thing that could be really stressful for teams that go first is you could be like, okay, now's your time. And you're like sitting there waiting with anxiety the whole time because you don't know exactly when the time is going to be that you get to go. So the dog in white gives them a 15-minute marker. And then the first dog will go out and it could be, an older retired dog, or it could be a dog that's not competing right now, or it could be a dog that needs field experience and is not ready to compete yet. They go out, play their round. The judges judge them. We don't get an official score. And then afterwards, the judges have a conversation about it and just dial each other in and see if we have any questions, how everybody's feeling, any challenge that you might have. And then we have 10 more minutes after that to get ourselves comfortable and get, because sometimes you sit down and you realize you don't have your pen, you don't have your paper organized, and then there's another team like ready, and that team doesn't want to be iced. So if I really loved that 15-minute buffer for both the judges and the teams, it didn't waste time. It gave this really solid preparation time that I think it felt good for me. I liked it. I didn't feel rushed as a judge, and I felt like the players had a more accurate assessment of when it would go. So you're not required to do dog and white, but I do feel like it's a contribution to the club for inexperienced teams, older teams, teams that aren't competing right now. They get to go out and play a little freestyle. It's a primer for your judges, and it gets the conversation going. And I think it gives a more fair calibration to the first few teams that go.
Yeah, I was not familiar with the concept when Dre brought it up to me before the Invitational, I think was when we first did it. But I did feel like it gave us good calibration going into it. We were able to discuss a few things that a couple of us had questions about, clarify anything. And like Dre said, then I knew, all right, we were done. We now have 10 minutes before the next dog. I can go grab my pen or I can grab something to drink or what. Like it was nice. It was like we got one done. We're able to have a quick conversation about it, get calibrated, and now, in 5 to 10 minutes, the next one is we're the real one. The real number one team is ready to go. But I found it very helpful when we did it. So it could definitely be something that will help out, especially when you're grabbing uh folks to judge freestyle that maybe haven't taken the course. They may not have even known that they were going to, let's be
Be judged.
honest, they may not have even known that you were going to ask them to judge freestyle until they showed up that day
Yeah.
and you were ready to go. Even more so in a situation like that, it's great to do this because it gives you an opportunity to have some quick conversations with those people who are helping you out that day, that may not know that much about how to score dog or how to score team or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So dog and white is a great little strategy to use. Another thing I wanted to bring up, Dre, and this came up again the other night in head judge class. Um, One of our participants said we were going through,
Player
I think it was
three.
ingenuity, right? And
Yeah.
she was like,
It was
I
throw,
need
yeah,
to
it was
add,
the throw diversity and the
that's right.
ingenuity conversation. And she
Yeah,
didn't
we had
know.
just finished ingenuity and we were heading into talking about throw diversity and difficulty. And her question, it was a great, honest question. And it
Mhm.
was, well, how do I know how difficult these throws are if I
I can't
haven't
throw any of them.
tried any of them, or like maybe they're all hard for me.
Hmm.
So like how do you assess that? And I thought that was a great question, and it led us to having a quick conversation about if you are just quickly gathering, we know how things are at an event. Many times there's only one certified freestyle head judge, and you're just trying to get somebody that is willing to sit in the chair and
Yep.
judge these
Yep.
rest of these teams. And so our suggestion is the the least experienced judge slash freestyle player, the person that has the least experience with freestyle, whether it be playing or judging, should do catch ratio.
Yep.
Next least experienced, probably dog. Next least experienced, team. And your most experienced freestyle player and or judge, and especially player, honestly, um, a player is going to be able to judge and evaluate the difficultiness. Is that a word?
But
Difficultiness?
no, it's not.
Difficulty.
The difficulty of, yeah.
Um, Better than somebody who hasn't actually tried to do these
Yep.
tricks or actually tried to make these throws. We also talked about the fact that you can learn a lot through conversation with players as well. And like as a judge, ask players, like not while you're judging, but like, throughout the course of the event and stuff, you could just ask them like, "Hey, I saw you do this cool trick. Like, how difficult is that? Is that harder than this or whatever?" Like last night we were talking about the fact that like when you first see it, like an upside down backhand may look like a difficult toss to you because you're like,
Yeah,
whoa, that was cool. It's flying upside down. But really, that's not
pretty
that hard.
simple. Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that if you hadn't tried it. And then you talk about another throw, like a girly throw or a brush toss
Brush
or
or
something
a
like
triple
that.
disc or yeah.
Yeah, that is difficult. But again, the player might make all of those throws we just mentioned look easy. Like a good player should make them look easy, but a judge needs to know like how difficult is that to do that. So, anyways, put your most experienced player slash judge in the human category and talk about stuff. Like talk about freestyle. The more you discuss things and talk with each other, the more you're going to elevate your learning and you'll just be a better judge.
Yeah, and the performance round, the judges are going to have to judge all the categories. And so if you're one of those players that doesn't have human experience, ask your most experienced judge. I mean, Jack and I chat all the time when we're judging. I'll look at a subcategory and I'll be like, Jack, I don't remember any of this happening. Did I totally miss it? And he'll throw over and he'll be like, yeah, I saw a couple of those. Be like, all right. And then, or he'll say like, I didn't, can you think of something of improvement here? Or can you think of something that's missed in my category? So, as judges, we're supposed to watch our categories, right? But in performance, we're watching everything. And so if you don't have the basis of information to really know how that player went, everybody's judging everything. So you can ask your more experienced judge what their score is for that area, why,
Yeah.
and try and get they had a lot of variety and that judge should be able to give you feedback like they had a lot of variety in their throws and they didn't repeat that stuff, or they had unique throws that nobody else did, or the throw placement was just excellent that really solicited leaping and it raised their score across the board. And so as the more experienced judge on the panel, you don't have to, but it is a contribution to the other judges and to Updog for you to communicate what you know about freestyle and what you observe to people that haven't had that experience. Because Jack and I can talk about, for me, it's 20. I think for you, it's about 25 years of experience now, that we can't relay in a 15-second conversation. We can't give you all the knowledge of everything that we see or we've tried and we know the difficulty of, but we can share our knowledge with you and try and pass some of that along, as you become freestyle judges. Because we know that we're giving you the rules and the framework, but unless you have the experience to know how to apply that, it becomes kind of stressful. So we want you guys to feel like you can be judges without knowing everything. You don't have to know everything. And if you're
Yeah.
doing criteria, pick one of the easier categories. If you're doing performance, you are judging everything. So if you're not sure about handler, ask your most experienced judge what their score is for that, and then you can kind of try and be as you if you've taken any of our judging courses, our goal is to have your score within 1 point of where Updog would score it. And so as long as you're within that 1 point range, that's where we want you to be scoring. We want the subjectivity of each individual judge. That's part of freestyle. And so we really just want you guys to have enough understanding to get into a range, and then as you continue to judge, you'll continue to learn and have a more robust understanding of the intricacies of judging. But we want to encourage
Yeah.
new people to go out and do it, to go out and judge.
And if we don't have judges, then obviously new
Can't play.
players, your players can't go play. And so the bottom line is one one certified freestyle judge, one judge that has taken the course, and two people that are just willing to sit down in the chairs and learn and score are better than not having
Yep.
freestyle that day. So, don't I mean, obviously, as the events get bigger, and I know that there's some nice, good regional events that happen, Canadian Nationals, Updiff. Yes, of course, we want to have really highly qualified judges that have been around the sport for a while, that have been judges for a while. Everybody's certified in freestyle, head judge class, all of that. But like, don't put so much pressure on yourself that, oh man, I've got to know this and I've got to know that. Just sit down, do your best. The players should understand. And that's why Dre always says, like, don't take your score at a local, like super, don't take it to heart too
Don't put so
much.
much
Like
importance on it. Yeah, these are
that
volunteer
score
judges.
could be off by 5 or 8 points, depending upon the level of the judges that are sitting in the chair. And so, but again, I would much rather have judges sitting in the chair who are inexperienced and gonna give it their best shot, and at least I get to play freestyle that day.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So thank you, judges. And for anybody that wants to expand their understanding of judging for freestyle, we are running the judging courses. So there should be another one up in March, I would guess, because we're running one in January right now, and it's about every 2 months. So if you're
And so
looking
our
to expand your knowledge, you can jump in on that.
so our quarterly meeting this month is actually going to be coming up really soon. It's in February. It's going to be what date did we just say,
I
Dre?
think said let me look.
10th. The
It was the
10th,
10th.
right?
Yeah, Tuesday evening, the
Tuesday
10th.
the 10th at 7 o'clock. It will last approximately probably like 60 to 90
Yeah.
minutes, just depending on how many questions we get. And this first one is going to be all about the new scoring system with performance round. We'll take questions from folks ahead of time. We'll take questions during the meeting itself. So if you get a chance, look through the rules. They'll be posted in this thread as well as separately on the discussion page. They'll also be in the club resources folder where you normally find freestyle rules.
Mhm.
Take a look at the new freestyle rules. Send us your questions. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about on the 10th. And the 10th is open only to folks who have passed the freestyle head judge course. The reason why we do that is because if you haven't taken that course first, that's like the underlying foundational component that you should do first before you jump onto the quarterly discussions. One more thing I do want to tell you is that after UpDiff sometime this year, all freestyle head judges will need to take a test, just like the head judges for all the other games take a test.
Mhm.
It's an open book test. However, there will also be some videos that you will watch and you will score. And just like Dre said, just like our freestyle head judges course, as long as you're falling within 1 point of the UpDog score, you'll be fine. But we want to bring all of our judges. There's been so many changes over the last like
Yep.
8 years. Like, I mean, I've been doing this freestyle head judge course, and the course itself has changed dramatically from when it first came out. Like when it first came out, it wasn't live. There was no one to answer questions. You just watched some videos, you put in a
Yep.
score, and then you hit a button and it showed you what the UpDog score was. And if you went through and watched all the videos, then you were certified. So anyways, it's gone through a lot of changes and we just want to make sure that everybody is up to date. So we're having everybody recertify with a test this year. So be on the lookout for that. Um, I don't know, that was a lot of information. I thought this was
Yeah.
going to be a short one.
We talked about freestyle. We never have a short freestyle ones, but this one is about judging. So if you guys want to grow freestyle in your club, which of course you do, encourage your members to take our freestyle course. And when's the next one? Do you know? Do you have the dates ready?
I don't think we have one set because there's one going on right now, but I don't think
Mhm.
we have the next one set yet. But as soon
We'll
as this
post
one
it.
ends, which we've got 3 weeks left, usually we take a week or two off and then we'll start another one. So it'll be soon.
Sweet. Yeah. So we're super excited about these changes. We think they are needed. And we've been struggling through the process to get to the point where we can release all this stuff. And I'm very happy that it's finally rolling out and we're gonna have some more consistent judging along the lines, just consistent across the world. That everybody's gonna have clearer criteria. So that should be a win-win for everybody. Our judges will be clearer about their job and players are gonna get more consistent scores.
Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you are practicing some cool freestyle moves. I know I am. The weather's nice here. I can do that. You guys hopefully are finding a space inside maybe where you can do it. So you
Yep.
can bust out some new moves for us to judge you guys on coming up. And in the meantime, Dre,
Be kind to each other.
and be kind to your animals and say thank you
You
for thanking me.
thank thank you for thanking me, Jack. Did you thank me?
No, I'm just telling everybody else to do
Well, I
that.
know, but now I feel like you have to thank me.
Oh, thank you for thanking me to thank you for thanking me.
You're welcome. Thanks for thanking me, Jack.
Sure.
All
Bye,
right, guys. Have
guys.
a great day. Bye.
Sweets are made of this four-way play, fragility, time warp spaced out, throw and go, free freestyle far out, now you know. Some of them wanna get greedy, some of them wanna get funky. Fireball, boom, 7 up. Plenty of ways to play with your